Thought I was gonna miss the Phillies game tonight, but they took care of that.
You don't have to go out there.
I'd like to bring the meeting to order. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, folks. This is the October 15, 2024 meeting of the Municipal Land Use Board. And in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was provided by posting on the City Hall bulletin board and by notification to our newspapers of record. And I ask Donna to please make this announcement part of that record.
Yes.
And Donna, if you would, a roll call, please.
Mayor Jim Petty? Here. Mr. Timbers? Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Bard?
Here.
Michael McKenna?
Here.
Mr. Molyneux?
Here.
Mr. Keener?
Here.
Carol Kola?
Here.
Ryan McGowan?
Here.
And Secretary here.
Thank you, Donna. We have minutes of September 17 meeting.
Make a motion?
Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried, thank you. New business application 2024-04, Shore Real Estate, 1225 White Horse Pike, variance relief.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, members of the board. My name is Michael Lario. I'm an attorney at the firm of DeMatt Davis and Goldstein. I'm here this evening on behalf of the applicant, Shore Real Estate 1 LLC. This is an application concerning property at 1225 White Horse Pike. It's block 619, lot 11.02. It's property within the HC Highway Commercial Zone. As I'm sure many on this board may recall, the applicant was before you in April of 2022 for the preliminary final major site plan application with variance relief in connection with the demolition of an existing liquor store and residence and the construction of a new liquor store and residence. That application was unanimously approved. The building's currently under construction. They're looking to open shortly. And really, the application before you tonight is bulk variance relief associated with minor changes to that approved sign plan. And essentially, when the applicant was before this board in April of 2022, they sought approvals for a projecting sign from the building, something that was almost perpendicular to the building that extended towards the White Horse Pike. What they are looking to do now is get rid of that projecting sign and in its place propose a freestanding identification sign. What's interesting, although the site is in the highway commercial zone, individual stores, it's not envisioned that they can have these freestanding identification signs. It's in your ordinance. Commercial, multi-tenant commercial sites are where freestanding identification signs are permitted, not individual stores. So we require variance relief for the size, the height, and the setback of this proposed freestanding sign. But as you'll hear our professional's testimony tonight, we're actually very much in conformity with what would otherwise be accepted if this were a multi-tenant commercial building, both as to area, as to height. There's a slight deviation as to the setback from the White Horse Pike that we'll speak more to, but ultimately this is a sign that is very in keeping with what your ordinance envisions being along the White Horse Pike, again, as to size, height, etc. That really is the nature of the application before you. It's a very straightforward application. Again, just seeking bulk variance relief. No changes to the operation or any of the site improvements that were previously approved.
Mike, what did you say was the only thing that they need a variance for?
So
Setback?
technically it's area, height, and setback.
Right, but if it were a
It
multi-story
would
site.
only be the setback from the White Horse Pike, and then there's 12th Terrace there, is that side street, so it would be from both of those.
Thanks.
With me this evening, I have the project engineer, Mr. Andy Schaefer. I have a representative of the applicant, Dave Nefagani, and I have a representative of the sign contractor, David Finch, in case there's any questions as to the specific sign itself. Mr. Chairman, I can have everyone sworn in together or as they appear.
Individually, please.
Okay. So Andy, start with you.
Do you swear that everything you offer tonight will be the truth?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
as
yeah.
the hearing, understood. Andy, we can start with you.
Certainly.
So I know you've appeared before this board, Mr. Chairman, I can have Mr. Schaefer.
You recognize,
Are you sure?
Right. If you could, I think starting with the site, just briefly, just so everyone's familiar with where we're talking.
All right, as Mr. Larry said. So we're sandwiched between 12th Terrace, White Horse Pike, and San Francisco Avenue, which was the object of a number of variances I think we had to get on the site plan because we have street frontages, which left us a little bit hamstrung in terms of finding a place to build any kind of building. So we got through that. Originally, we were proposing a sideways sandwich board type sign, if you will, at an angle sticking out from the building. Each face, I believe, was 20 square feet each. And it was, in my mind, at that point in time, replacing a freestanding sign because we didn't necessarily have an easy place to put one. So it's been rethought, and we are proposing a sign near where this light pole is, of 40 square feet, double-sided, internally illuminated, which is very common up and down the White Horse Pike, including other businesses that are single businesses with a freestanding sign too. Not that that makes it owed to us, but it's common in this neighborhood to have a freestanding sign both for multi-tenant buildings as well as single-tenant buildings. And besides, I believe it's on the smaller side in keeping, especially when you consider the Dollar General, which is a little catty corner across the street from us, which is much larger than the 40 square feet.
If this was a multi-tenant commercial space, we would be able to have a sign of 50 square feet, I believe.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so we're actually below what we otherwise would be.
Again, we're trying to keep it balanced to the size of the site, which isn't large, so.
Okay, and then that 40 square feet is the sign area, the sign height is 16?
16 feet, and again, you need to make, part of the reason for that, you need to maintain clearance below it, in case somebody walks underneath it.
Okay, and the ordinance would otherwise permit for a multi-tenant, I think it's 35 feet?
Right,
So
so
again,
we're a little lower than that.
okay. It also requires it to be internally illuminated, I mean, you mentioned that, this is internally illuminated.
It is.
And it also requires certain landscaping around the base. Can you speak to that?
Which we already included landscaping as part of the site plan approval. I hope it's in, but it's due to be in very shortly if not.
Okay. Now, there is a requirement that the sign be set back 20 feet from the road frontage. Can you speak a little bit as to
Yes.
where the sign will be?
And we are proposing 12 feet to the front edge of the sign. I've just learned tonight that a utility pole was placed about 4 feet closer to the road, right in 12th Terrace. So we're probably going to entertain the idea of pushing that sign back a couple more feet to probably make it 14 feet rather than 12 feet, so that the new telephone pole doesn't block the view of the sign. So.
All right. So again, we mentioned that we require the variances for the area, the height, and the setback from the street frontages.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit as to, the positive criteria here, what we're advancing?
That's what I was coming to. So it is common for this neighborhood, if you're looking for a business, to look and see the freestanding signs as a way to see it. Now, the building does have an existing small front sign and side sign that are building mounted, but it really could use more. And I agree with the applicant that replacing, I'll call them the sandwich board signs, is going to make that more consistent with the other businesses in the area. So as far as a negative, I don't see any negative impact to the site because we are all in a fairly well-developed commercial district. And as far as a positive, again, in spite of whatever the speed limit may be marked, traffic moves at a fairly good clip along here. And the larger signs that are consistent in your eye view with the other signs in the neighborhood, I believe is very important from a public safety standpoint.
It'll help promote safe and efficient traffic.
That's correct, yes.
Now, just so the board's clear, I think the existing signs right now are indicated on the frontage here, and then there's one over the entrance, correct?
That's correct.
Now, we were originally approved in 2022 to have a sign on that side of the building.
Right, as well as the sandwich board one.
Okay, and as part of this application, we're no longer proposing that, instead we're gonna move that, and the freestanding
Right.
sign will serve that purpose.
So the total sign package actually offers a lessening of the square footage of signage, but I believe a better and safer, more focused in terms of freestanding sign. where we are
Andy, what's that
proposing.
street on the top?
12? Perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions for Mr. Schaefer,
Any questions from the board?
That looks good.
Our original intent was to replace this light pole with a heavier pole and leave the light on top of it, but since we've learned about this telephone pole, I think we're gonna put a separate pole and push it back at least 2 more feet.
So what should the resolution
The
read?
resolution should be 14 feet.
14 feet from the,
Right. And perhaps we may push it back a little further once we get a definitive location for the sign.
so 14 feet or more.
Correct.
Okay.
But 14 feet minimum is what we're asking for,
Got it.
or 20 is required.
Mr. Schaefer, you had an opportunity to review Mr. McGowan's review memo prior to this meeting.
I did, and I have no objection to any of the comments.
Mr. Chairman, again, unless there's any questions from members of the board, I do have Mr. Nethigani here and Mr. Finch to speak if there's any specific questions from operation or the sign itself.
I have a question. We were notified by a resident across the street, across San Francisco Avenue, that one of the lights in the parking lot that's closer to the sidewalk on the San Francisco side is shining into her bedroom.
Okay, we certainly will address that. The site plan originally approved does require site lighting shades put on, shields put on, so we will certainly.
Good, that's great.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Thank
Now,
you.
How bright will that sign be? Will she have a complaint about that?
That's on the
also?
other side.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately,
That's
it's on the other side.
Yes.
The residents we're talking about is here.
Yeah.
The sign's on the opposite side.
Correct. So you must have known about that?
No,
Oh, okay.
but I do know that the original site plan calls for shielding on the lights.
Yeah, there's no.
And a lot of times, the shielding on the lights, while you can predict some of that, you're gonna miss some of it, and need to come back and add some.
The property's beautiful. I mean, you've done a good
I
job.
agree with that.
Any other questions from the board? Just a comment, the tree on San Francisco Avenue that is right out almost to the White Horse Pike, I'm sure they would frown upon, some people would frown upon you taking it down, but it obscures the view of the building when you're coming down Route 30 bad. You ought to consider trimming that thing way back because it would open up the whole front of that building and change the whole view coming down the White Horse
Like an
Pike.
inch off the ground back.
Yeah. Or grass on top of it.
No. Yeah, no other questions from the board?
Make a motion, we approve.
Anyone from the public wish
Oh,
to comment on this application?
I read your report, I mean, I know that they have to be here, but it's a sign.
Well, we've all been around town a long time. There was a freestanding sign there
Yeah.
the entire existence of the old liquor store.
I'm glad you brought that point up, I did forget that. Harbor Liquors.
We used to have a big bottle sign showing.
Following the ship in the bottle.
In fact, I think the setback on that sign was probably negative. Meaning it was in the
Yes.
right of way.
It was, and it had a large planter around it that wound up getting destroyed by cars trying to
Right.
get
I
in
I know
it.
the applicant, I had many conversations about that, because he wanted to just replace it, and I said, you can't.
This is a better location,
Yeah.
stay out of the way of traffic.
We'll pull back my motion, knowing that Brian and the public haven't had a chance. I'm a little overzealous tonight.
Ryan, we saw your report. Do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, unless anybody has any other questions. Actually, the one question I do have is, it's stated a 6-inch thickness on the 5-inch poles. Do you think that's going to be accurate?
Something's probably wrong with that, so.
Okay, so the sign might be a foot thick or so, but it shouldn't impact anything.
Right.
That was really, I think they answered all the other questions I had. So.
Okay. No public comment on this application? John, did you want to,
I'd like to make a motion, we approve.
Second.
roll call, please, Don?
Mayor Jim Petty?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
Oh,
You
sorry.
can't vote. We're the zoning board
Oh,
tonight.
sorry. Am I allowed to sit up here?
Huh?
Am I allowed to sit up here?
Quietly. And Mr. Timbers, you're on council, right? So Mr. Timbers can't vote either.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Guard?
Yes.
Mike McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Molyneux?
Yeah.
Mr. Keener?
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
folks.
you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good luck, nice project.
Thank you. I'll take this opportunity to thank you, everyone, city seems helpful, support you. Best city in Atlantic County, I can say. Everybody is very helpful,
Grand opening on Saturday, right?
Grand opens, I want each and everyone to invite, to this opportunity to give me my flyers.
Well, I thought you had
And please do come, I asked, I want Mayor, please, ribbon cutting ceremony. This is to take as a personal invitation. Ryan is most helpful, Ryan, every time you come, he tied up my phone calls.
Yo. Happy to help.
Thank you. Flyer, I just made it today.
Thank you.
I was there forever.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, no old business. Is there a council report? Public comments?
This is Rachel's first planning board meeting as a married woman.
Congratulations.
You're still smiling.
Still smiling. You should be on your honeymoon.
Oh, I was gone for 2 weeks.
Uh-oh. I mean, the retainer's gonna go up?
I would like to make one comment, a couple comments, though. We do have the Fall Festival on Saturday, and a lot of stuff going on Saturday. The Veterans Breakfast is on Saturday. If you're not connected on the official Egg Harbor City Facebook page that has this seal on it, you should be, because that's what tells you everything that's going on. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. And I also spoke to the Jeff Angeloni from the Wawa property, and they are seemingly ready to pursue the marijuana distribution if council approves it. And Ryan, we talked about that, and I believe it would require something. I think we as a group approved that.
Yeah,
At the
it would
planning
require an update to the redevelopment plan and council to permit an additional retail license in the HC zone on that property. So I think council is going to take that up shortly.
So hopefully we'll have that coming on board soon. And we have a Chinese restaurant opening, which you guys saw on Philadelphia Avenue. And there's something else opening, but I cannot.
Train,
The train, yes, thank you. A train museum, right? Is that what-
Club, I think, yeah. Model
Club?
train.
Yeah, it's
Model
a
train.
platform display.
So that's good stuff. And that's all I have, I think.
What's the name of the Facebook page? There's a whole bunch of different.
It's just the official Egg Harbor City Facebook page. I'll show you what it looks like.
I'm seeing it, I can't click it.
Look, it looks like this, Carol. See it?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to find because it was set up originally as a business and not a political organization. I can try to send you a link.
thank you, Mayor.
Hang on.
Any public comment? Comments from any board members? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Thank you, folks.
Oh, you know what you could do? Go on eggharborcity.org, and there's a link to it. Click that link, and you should be able to get to it. There's Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube.
You know what I am a member of is the Egg Harbor City Historical Society? Those pictures are
They're
just
awesome, aren't they?
They're from the old news,
They're just
Egg Harbor News, and somebody has access to those old papers.
So Mike, give this to Don.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, he's like,
All right.